India's Champions Trophy win has had a massive impact across the globe. While the triumph was celebrated across the country, some cricketing countries were not able to appreciate this win just as much. I'm not referring to Pakistan or New Zealand, who lost to India in the final. Australia seems to be mighty miffed. Wait, it's not the Australian cricket team, though I would think that would be the more logical scenario. It's the famous Aussie media that's at it again. Media outlet Fox Sports has called India's Champions Trophy win a farce. Another group, Australia Media Corporation, went a step ahead, saying farcical may not even be the strongest word to describe India's glory. Now, the fact that sections of the Aussie media are crying foul comes as little surprise. The source of information has become a source to target India for months now. Because every time they feel a little intimidated by the Asian cricketing giants, they resort to questioning their triumph, or better yet, mocking them. Basically acting as their cricket team's 12th player. Because clearly they feel their own team needs that ammunition. They always find a reason to justify their team's loss and question India's win, especially when it's these two, of course, who's sparring each other, obviously because there's been a history of this. Just 2 months ago, when India toured Australia for the Border-Gavaskar trophy, the Aussie media went to town. It started, of course, with a publication calling the cricketer Virat Kohli a clown. This after Kohli was involved in a showdown with Aussie debutant Sam Constas. Even targeted captain Rohit Sharma, calling him a crybaby. And it didn't stop there. When Kohli asked a journalist to not film his family outside the Melbourne airport, he basically asking the journalist to respect his personal space and privacy, Aussie broadcaster Tony Jones called Kohli a bully. All-rounder Ravindra Jadeja wasn't spared either. While Jadeja was addressing a media briefing in Melbourne, something that was reserved for just the travelling journalists, the travelling Indian journalists, Aussie reporters started asking questions and ridiculed Jadeja for not answering them in English instead of in Hindi, which he did. Multiple outlets carried reports alleging non-cooperation from Ravindra Jadeja during that event. It was not just the Aussie media attacking the Indian cricket team. Aussie fans pick up the additional burden of doing just as much. India were forced to cancel their open net sessions after thousands of fans gathered at the first one and heckled the Indian cricketers, body shaming some and taunting the dot balls. So much so that some fans even decided to do the same when Virat Kohli was walking back to the dressing room at the MCG during the test, leading to Kohli losing his cool. Yes, Kohli is just as hot-headed, there is no denying that, but you simply cannot disregard the Aussie intent, the birthplace of sledging itself. Of course, they are harsh on their own team when it needs to be, and it was not just aimed at the Indian cricketers alone. That's the point of it. It's a larger system in place. At the Melbourne cricket ground, Indian fans were subjected to racist jibes.
Where's your visa? 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 Where's your visa?
Clearly, it's a part of their psyche, and all through the series, the Australian media acted as the extra player for the Australian cricket squad. What's the need for the media to act like the official spokesperson, waiting to unleash fury on the opposition team, and in this case, of course, the Indian team? Or do they feel their players cannot intimidate the Indian cricketers well enough on the pitch? Take the matter they have raised a cry over now, calling India's victory a farce. Their own captain, Steve Smith, post that loss, had this to say.
I'm not buying into it. India obviously played some really good cricket here. The surface kind of suits their style with the spinners that they've got and the seamers that they have at their disposal for a wicket like that. They played well. They outplayed us, and they deserve the victory.
Sure, India got to play all their matches in one city. It was a tad unfortunate, but clearly the best team in the tournament won. Smith acknowledged it in as many words, so why can't the Australian media? The India versus Australia rivalry has become an iconic affair. It's a great contest that has taken shape over the decades and made the sport richer. It generates much fanfare, monies, and brings in a lot of the excitement. A battle of two cricket giants competing for glory, going toe to toe. So shouldn't it be played on just the field? Shouldn't that be the rivalry that we restrict it to the intense and amazing contest that the two cricketing sides produce? Or do the Aussie media feel that words have a larger impact than this?
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat ke logon ko meri namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Rohit, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.